our society these days are consuming so much energy drinks full with stimulant, but also laden with sugar. Granted, there are a lot of zero sugar ones these days, but nonetheless, it is full of just stimulant, right? When you drink caffeine, it stops you from feeling fatigue. But then after it goes off, then you'll feel tired again, right? But also at the same time, even when you're having that boost, you still need energy source from somewhere, which is within your body. Ketones provide that energy directly. That's why it doesn't affect sleep, because one, it's not a stimulant. But then two, it's better than stimulant because it provides the energy that you need.
An entrepreneur straight out of New York City, Michael Chernow was cracking.
In September, I sent out a couple of stool tests to see what was going on, not thinking that it was like anything crazy, but when I got the results, and maybe this doesn't sound crazy to some people that have experienced gut health issues, but I had high levels of Candida, H. pylori, and multiple parasites. Yeah.
That's how you keep lean, huh?
So I kind of just, I was like, oh my gosh. And I connected with a very prominent doctor who actually was the one who sent me those tests. And the response was antibiotics. Like, we're just gonna take this out. We're just gonna take it out with antibiotics. Now, my history with antibiotics is not great because I was diagnosed with chronic Lyme disease 2018. I got smashed with antibiotics for like 6 months to try to knock out the Lyme. Just destroyed my gut microbiome. Probably didn't spend enough time rebuilding it properly, and that was like kind of like a cascading effect.
You're the second person this week that I spoke to that had struggles with Lyme disease. He got it in New York by petting a dog, and he was bedridden for 2 years.
Yeah, see, I haven't, knock on wood, had it that bad, but the symptoms have been pretty severe. Now, at least I know what they are, right? Like, I still get flare-ups, I still get things that happen due to the Lyme, but it has triggered and sort of been a catalyst to a number of other autoimmune things. So I have Raynaud's now, I have psoriatic arthritis, and like these are all cascading effects from the initial Lyme thing. And I probably if I had to guess, I've had Lyme disease for a very long time.
I see.
And now it's probably, I would say it's not the Lyme that's creating these things in the gut, the autoimmune. It's just, I have a suppressed immune system.
Oh.
And so I've just like really been working on rebuilding, and so part of that, I did not want to do the antibiotics, so I kind of connected with a holistic functional medicine guy who really focuses on gut rebuilding and autoimmune. And we have been working on this for the last 6 months. A number of different protocols, a lot of keto, in and out of keto. And so I've been using just a lot of Ketone-IQ to really sort of help me.
No creatures of habit for you.
I have not had meal one.
Yeah, meal one. Yeah.
I haven't had meal one in close to 5 months,
Yeah.
And so today is day 4 of this 5-day fast. Tomorrow is the last day. I have told the doctor that I'm working with, or the practitioner that I'm working with, like, this is it for me. Like, I'm going back to life. Like, I can't live this way forever, right? I can't just. So I'm really, really excited to get back to meal one. But I will say that, like, the ketones have been very, very, very helpful for me because there's so many different ways to use Ketone-IQ. Like, obviously, you don't have to be looking to live a ketogenic lifestyle. As a matter of fact, I don't actually live a ketogenic lifestyle ever. And have been using Ketone-IQ for a very long time. I use it for energy, cognition. I use it sometimes as a pre-workout. I use it I take them with me. I take the pouches with me on long runs for like, a little blast. There's so many ways to use ketones, but I will actually say that, like, if you're doing a fast, or if you are going through a ketogenic protocol for whatever reason, they are so impactful. Like, so impactful.
Yeah.
Like, you could take your blood ketone level even in ketosis, using Ketone-IQ, and I'll be at like a 1.1 or 1.3. You do a shot of Ketone-IQ and take your blood ketone level 5 to 10 minutes later, and you could be at like a 2.3.
Yeah.
And there's a very big difference there, right? So anyway, I know we just kind of kicked off in my crazy gut place.
You kicked off with the stool test.
I want to hear what's going on with you, man. This is so you're now on the show. This will be number 2, and I know that we were talking about a lot of stuff that you guys were kicking around about a year and change ago. What are you guys working on now?
We are working on so much right now. So on the commercial side, we were just saying different flavors now. We've got green apple, we've got peach, we've got raspberry lemonade. We are also in Vitamin Shop now, on top of Sprouts, HEB, all the groceries, 7-Eleven. We're just branching out now, really hitting the ground running, hiring more people to get the products out there. And then from the science front, we are collaborating with more universities than ever. Before we went live, I was just telling you a bit about it. We've got a current collaboration with the University of Pennsylvania looking at using Ketone-IQ for colorectal cancer prevention in high-risk individuals. We have a grant currently in for NIH together with Johns Hopkins University looking at using Ketone-IQ to treat sleep apnea. So obstructive sleep apnea is when people don't get enough oxygen at night when you're sleeping. And if you're snoring, it could be one of the symptoms. And as a result, you increase your risk of cardiovascular disease, mortality, and obesity. So fingers crossed, in May, we'll find out if we get funding for a big clinical trial using Ketone-IQ to treat that. We've got a heart failure.
While we're just talking about that,
yes.
can you just because I remember the last time you were on, you had mentioned how Ketone-IQ helps you sleep.
Yes.
You had mentioned that you had done 3 shots before bed one night and got some amazing sleep.
I still do 2 shots nowadays.
So you use it right before bed?
Yes, I use it right before bed. It's really helpful for my recovery and my sleep quality.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so how does that work?
So in the sleep apnea side of things, they already published papers using ketogenic diet. What they found is that ketones increases oxygen sensitivity, increases carbon dioxide sensitivity, increase oxygen saturation as well. And this is in line with what we see in high altitude and hypoxia, where ketones actually improve your adaptation to hypoxia. And that can apply to either high altitude training, just performance in terms of exercise. You are running out of oxygen because you're working out, right? That also falls into the hypoxic adaptation, which is why we just wrapped up a study in Belgium with collaboration, partnership with Visma Lease a Bike, which is a top cycling team for Tour de France. We are also, last year when we kicked off the partnership, we also kicked off a research project trial looking at recovery and EPO, how ketones can increase your red blood cells formation, increase your blood vessel formation, and ultimately deliver more blood, more oxygen to your muscles to help you recover. So that also plays a role in sleep apnea. There is also another effect, which is a calming effect on the brain, which also helps you sleep. So anxiolytic effect on the GABA pathway, that has been shown as well. So all in all, it really essentially not just provide your body with fuel, with energy, because for a good 5 years or so after exogenous ketone came out, it was primarily as a fuel for military, for athletes, how to last longer, how to go faster, whatever. But as we understand further what ketone metabolism actually means, we are now discovering even a myriads of effect that ketones have on not just the signaling on the brain. It also has a profound effect on vasodilation, on really dilating your blood vessels, i.e., relaxing your blood vessels and letting blood flow better. And when you have better blood flow, it applies to everything. And that includes, training, recovery, adaptation, sleep, and then also with our collaboration with Duke University, we have a grant in review looking at heart failure. That's a very interesting one.
So I guess the question that I would have is the shot size that you guys have here. Is that like a clinically studied
Dose.
of ketones that can help impact any one of these things, or is it based on the size of the human?
That's a great question. What do you think?
I would imagine it's probably based on the size of the human.
And that is correct. So all the studies are actually dosed at body weight. So 0.3 grams per kilogram of body weight would be the standard dose that we use for clinical trials, which means if you are a 60 kilogram person, you would take 20 grams of Ketone-IQ, and 20 grams equals to 2 shots.
So 60 kilograms, I'm American, so we don't.
Yeah, I know.
So 60 kilograms is what? That's 140 pounds?
Yeah, around that, I think.
So if you're somewhere between 140 and 160 pounds, typically a dose would be 2 shots.
2 to 3 shots, yeah.
Okay. And that is an effective dose to potentially impact some of the things that you're studying right now.
Correct.
And how many doses of that do you think would one want to use on a daily basis?
In studies, we have explored between 1 to 3 doses. So some studies use once per day, some studies use 3 throughout the day, and some studies have 1 in the morning, 1 at night. So it really depends on first of all, it depends on your expense capacity.
Sure.
How affordable it is. And 2, I think it really because of the subjective feel that the difference
I
that
gotta
it makes.
double up my dose then.
Yeah, that's the one with caffeine. So that has only 5 grams.
Should I use this?
I mean, it's 4:30. Yeah.
And I've got a long drive. I'm going for it.
And New Yorkers live on caffeine anyway, right? So because of the subjective difference that people feel, you should essentially feel how you feel after you take it. So let's say you want a specific effect, either cognition or energy or productivity. Have once a day, see how it goes. And let's say you feel the dip, if you have it early in the morning, you feel the dip at 4 p.m. Have another one. There is no hard rule on how exactly you should take it.
Mm-hmm.
I think everyone should take it on a personalized use case level. Even though a lot of these studies have got standard protocols, use that as a guideline. Because I just got off of a podcast with Dr. Florence Comite at Central Park South there, and she is the owner and founder of Comite Precision Medicine Center, and we were talking about how important it is that everyone's genetics and physiology are very unique, and there is no exact same carbon copy of human beings. So why should we then supplement or work on our health lifestyle based on the same carbon copy?
Is that alluding to, like, when you say carbon copy, like paleo diet and strength training or ketogenic diet or carnivore diet, like this is going to work for everyone?
Yeah.
How would one go about, I mean, you're deep in the science of nutrition, fitness, metabolic health. How would one go about trying to understand what makes sense for them?
I think first and foremost, gather as much information as you can on yourself. So the blood work, and actually consult with an expert who can actually interpret the blood work for you, right? And understanding, like you said, like you feel great, your biological age was great, you never knew what was going on in your gut. And you send samples out, you figure out, and then the expert that you work with, the doctor, what's wrong, how to fix it. And that's personalized to you. Right? Some people may have candida but not parasite. Some people might have parasite but not, H. pylori. So it's the information. Knowledge is power, and get that information first and foremost. Understand your body and relate to how you feel on a daily basis. What are you trying to work on? Am I trying to increase strength? Am I just feeling fatigue all the time? I need more energy. Am I working on body composition, reduce fat? And if so, how is my current state of being physiologically affect my efforts? And then you build on top of that, right? You build on top of that in terms of foundation. What are the nutrition? What are the exercises, the sleep, the stress management? And then you put in the supplements. after that.
So let's just use my case right now, right? I am in deep autophagy right now. My ketone levels are at probably, I would argue to say, well, right now after taking 2 shots of that, I would probably say I'm in the high 3s, low 4s,
Yeah,
right?
I would say so too.
And I've been in that area for the last maybe 36, 48 hours, right? Like I was already in ketosis before I did the fast, and then I started the fast, and like, you know, do you know what GKI is? Are you familiar with that?
Mm-mm.
So GKI is like a measure of it is a formula between what your blood glucose levels are and what your ketones are. It kind of kicks out this GKI number.
Glucose ketone index, is that
Exactly.
what you call it? Okay.
So my glucose ketone index probably right now is like a 1 to 1.2, which is like deep autophagy, right? Like I'm living on like in a very interesting place. The thing that is interesting to me though is the practitioner that I'm working with right now has shared how important ketosis is for the autophagy process. So like ketones and like gut health. Like is there anything there?
It's very interesting. I sort of explored it. We don't have particular study specifically on exogenous ketones or even endogenous ketones and gut health, but we know that certain short chain fatty acids like butyryl acid is good for the gut. And ketones are being circulated in the form of beta-hydroxybutyrate, which is a very similar structure. But whether or not those two molecules are interchangeably converting to each other, we don't know. But
so you're not able to really draw like a direct parallel?
No, I don't think we can. But what I can say though, whenever you do a change of diet, you are doing a major overhaul of your gut. So in that sense, it could very well have enough stress to the gut that it promotes positive change. So a lot of people, they see improvement in whatever symptoms when they switch to, say, carnivore diet, when they switch to vegan diet, when they switch to paleo diet. It's because the change is not necessarily the diet itself. Yeah, I'm sure the diet also has some positive change, but I think the stress that the change induces can also provide the necessary stress needed for the body to then say, hey, let's kickstart this defense mechanism and repair things.
What do you think most people that are using Ketone-IQ, like what do you think the vast majority of people are using it for?
We've got data on that because we've got a post-marketing, post-purchase survey. A lot of people actually use it. Majority of people use it for performance. So they use it like pre-workout. They use it for before a race or whatever. And some people use it. Actually, a big proportion of it use it for cognitive function, so productivity. So executives, people going to meetings, presentations, they want their brain sort of dialed in. They use it for that. And then there is also a portion of people who use it for appetite suppression.
So like in like an intermittent fast thing.
Intermittent fasting or even calorie deficit in general, it has a slight appetite suppression effect. Not as powerful as GLP-1 or Ozempic, obviously, but we are actually finishing a study by July this year with University of British Columbia looking exactly at appetite suppression, the effect on the hormones, on ghrelin, leptin, peptide YY, and the overall calorie consumption. And we want to really see what effect Ketone-IQ has on overall calorie consumption. Because if we find out that we do know already that ketone has a positive effect on appetite suppression hormones, but whether or not it translates into overall calorie consumption, that's what this study is trying to find out. And if we can find out that it does translate to overall calorie deficit, that'll be powerful for people who want to use a natural product, a food product, to achieve their weight goal instead of going straight to Ozempic or
Does it have any impact on blood glucose?
Yes, it does. So what we have seen with a continuous glucose monitor, if you have one, you can also check it yourself. After food and you take Ketone-IQ, you will be able to see a drop in blood glucose level up to 50 points, even sometimes. And a lot of people, they are like, oh, it's too low, but they feel great. So that's when you know that the ketones are kicking into gear. And what the researchers who published that paper think is happening is that with the presence of ketones in your body is telling your liver to lower gluconeogenesis. And gluconeogenesis is a process where your liver is synthesizing glucose from non-glucose sources like proteins and fats and all that. That is a process that is always ongoing in your body. That's why even when you're fasting, you have a baseline glucose level, because where does the glucose come from? Your liver makes it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's so interesting now that I'm doing this fast and experiencing, like, living at a lower glucose level is like a very, it's you know, it comes in waves, right? It comes in these weird waves.
Can't get up too quickly.
Like right after I took that shot, like I'm sure I got a dip in glucose.
Yes.
And, you know, it could be scary,
Yeah.
right? But eventually, sometimes even in the matter of minutes, it'll just sort of like calm down. But so many people today have high blood glucose levels, right? Like there are so many athletes that I know, so many people in the world of wellness that are like literally coming back with like high A1Cs and like high blood glucose levels. Even me, like before, you know, I went into the fast, I did a 3-day water fast, like a month and a week ago. And before that fast, like I was checking my blood glucose in the morning and I was at like 101, 105. And I'm like, why are my levels so high? Like, you know, normal is like mid 80s, right? Like that's where you want to be. Yeah. It's like a healthy place to be. And there's a number of different factors that go into it. But ultimately, like, it's really, really interesting to dive into that kind of science, because metabolic health is directly correlated to really like how your hormones are moving sugars around your body, right?
Yes.
And so it's really interesting to know that like that can make an impact on that, because that's why GLP-1s work so well, right? Like they're bringing down, they're increasing your insulin sensitivity and like allowing for things to actually start to operate properly in your body. So it's pretty cool to hear that Ketone-IQ is actually having an impact on glucose.
Yeah. And hopefully in September, we are putting in a grant application together to really look into the diabetic population and fatty liver disease population and see how we can help those people as well.
So like if you had to say, like if there's one area that you're really focusing on right now, is it the sleep apnea thing?
We are very close to finding out whether or not we get funded for that. That's why I'm so excited for that. But I think for me, personally, heart disease and cardiovascular disease has always been my passion. So the study with Duke, the grant that is ongoing that's in review right now on heart failure is one I'm excited about. But we also have a huge clinical trial that is already ongoing right now in Denmark. We are putting 250 heart failure patients on Ketone-IQ for 1 month for the next 2 years. And they already published one paper in December showing that just one dose of Ketone-IQ, the body weight dose, not just one shot. One dose of Ketone-IQ showed improved cardiac output, stroke volume, and ejection fraction in heart failure patients. That is powerful, acute, immediate effect. We saw an improvement in a disease that kills most of the people in the world.
Wow.
And I lost my dad to cardiovascular disease, so I am passionate about it, because there could be, you know, millions of younger lads whose dads are at risk of this, and you can get Ketone-IQ so easily now. And if it does help you and improve your, you know, granted, you need to have a healthy lifestyle overall, of course, like your sleep, your stress, your nutrition and workout and movements. But worse come to worse, you already have those risks and you're going to get a heart attack anytime soon. With Ketone-IQ, we know now it helps intermittently while you're trying to get your life in order.
So is there anything that Ketone-IQ does not help with?
I know. Well, that's the thing, right? When I talk about all of these, it sounds like a snake oil. It does everything. But if you boil down to what it does, so I want to pull our focus down into the oxygen sensing, oxygen adaptation, and the blood vessel dilation. Those two main factors, I think, is what the common denominator is around all of these diseases. Because if you think a lot of these diseases, like sleep apnea, heart failure, right, they are essentially causing deficiency in delivery of either substrates or oxygen into certain parts of your body. How do you increase delivery? You increase the blood vessel, dilation of the blood vessel, increases delivery. You increase red blood cells. You increase oxygen delivery that way. And you also increase delivery of glucose, ketones, fats into those organs so that it can provide energy. And the irony of what you just said about how abundant resources are to us these days and how we are constantly on high glucose, the fact that all these diseases circulate around deficiency or deficit in energy is the irony. Because we are always so high on glucose that our body actually work against it, develop insulin resistance, and as a result, we have energy deficiency. Our brains are not having enough energy, so we're developing Alzheimer's. Our hearts are not getting enough energy, so we're getting heart arrhythmia, we're getting heart failure. Our muscles are not getting enough energy. We're not recovering properly. We're now going to get injury when we work out. So even though we have the abundance of resources inside our body and outside, our bodies are not efficient at using it. So how do we then, try to reset? That's when ketogenic diet, low carb diet can reset it, because you're now telling your body, take a break. Right? You don't have as much glucose now, don't need to secrete as much insulin, so the insulin resistance go down. You get more sensitive to insulin so that your muscles can pull in more glucose and then create energy. Reverse that process. So ketones could also come in by lowering glucose, increasing blood flow, increasing oxygen, helping with that process.
So, I mean, what I'm hearing is, and I mean, I've kind of known this, but like basically, this is obviously a great tool for anybody that is on the, living a ketogenic lifestyle, of course, but like anybody that would like to do like a potential, hey, like give your body like a 4 to 6 week reset, go onto a low carb or potentially a ketogenic protocol, use this as because it's not easy to get into ketosis. It's just simply not. Like for someone that has never tried to take a stab at the ketogenic lifestyle, it could take 5 to 10 days for the body to readjust and to transition from burning, using glucose for energy to fat, right?
And then if you don't reach there, you start thinking, is it my body? Is it the diet that's not working? Am I eating glucose unintentionally? You don't know.
Right. So that's why I like this as a tool, right? Like I coach, I've been coaching one guy very specifically for years now. And one way, nutritionally for him, his body really responds to the ketogenic protocol. So if we want to go into a cut, I immediately throw him into a ketogenic protocol. But in the beginning, it took him almost 2 weeks to actually break a one, right? Now, with Ketone-IQ, like I send it to him and I'm like, dude, you'll be there in 3 to 5 days. And he is, right? Like he's breaking that 2 mark by the 5th or 6th day after eating a totally normal diet protocol prior to popping into ketosis. So I think, there are so many different ways to use the product, and it's pretty interesting to see that there's like the science. I mean, your job is to really sort of lift up as many rocks as possible, right? To really try to see the potential of what ketones have to offer outside of like what we think of as keto.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we talk all the time about like food being a drug, and ketone is one of those food that has drug-like properties. And on top of just being fuel, like I said earlier, it does have signaling properties. And when I talk about signaling, for people who are not familiar with the term in biology, signaling is essentially the effect of metabolites such as ketones have on receptors, on like say insulin receptors, on glucose transporters, on these different cogwheels that put together the metabolic pathway, if you will. And ketones having effect on them will then have a cascade of events that will then translate to physical symptoms.
So I guess like ultimately you're not marketing this, like your goal is not to market to the keto people, right?
No.
Like that's not it. You guys are literally trying to identify a new tool that really does not only help with metabolic health, but generally can like as a like a holistic wellness product for anybody, for preventative uses, for recovery uses, and also for like inspirational uses, right? Like
I like that.
Well, I mean, I'm just thinking like, right? Like if the whole Peloton is using Ketone-IQ, because that's true, isn't it? For the most part.
Yeah.
I mean, the Peloton is
Yeah,
basically.
I mean, we've got a lot of them. Yeah, we've got a lot of cyclists.
There's, I just find it to be so interesting. That's why I thought it was really, really great to have you back on the show, because I just think it's such a unique product. I mean, there's calories in it, but like the calories are not, it's not the same kind of calories that you get from protein, carbohydrates, and fat. Like if you can just take a second to just kind of walk through that real quick.
It's essentially a new class of micronutrient, right? It's, we talk about it a lot, saying that it is the fourth macronutrient, the first three being the fat, proteins, and glucose or carbs, and ketone being the fourth, because it can be a standalone macronutrient where it provides the energy that the other macronutrients can provide, and it gets broken down, and our bodies are already programmed to being able to produce as well as metabolize it. And that's why it's so interesting, because as you said, we are not marketing to the ketogenic diet population. We are essentially telling, hey, our society these days are consuming so much energy drinks, full with stimulant, but also laden with sugar. Granted, there are a lot of zero sugar ones these days, but nonetheless, it is full of just stimulant, right? When you drink caffeine, it stops you from feeling fatigue. But then after it goes off, then you'll feel tired again, right? But also at the same time, even when you're having that boost, you still need energy source from somewhere, which is within your body. Ketones provide that energy directly. That's why it doesn't affect sleep, because one, it's not a stimulant, but then two, it's better than stimulant because it provides the energy that you need.
So would you say like, would be a good test would be to like, for me, I've never tried to use it for sleep. The last time you were on the show, you had mentioned that to me. I was like, I was a little bit nervous to try it for sleep. Yeah. Is it something that I should just give it a shot?
I've recommended to quite a few people, and they all have positive feedback. The only kind of not on the fence feedback. The only feedback that is like neither negative or positive is that people do get vivid dreams first time.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah. So maybe not do it like this week while you are trying to like correct your gut and stress yourself out even more, but do it on a week where you feel good and you don't have any like super crazy commitment the next day, and try it with your Oura Ring, with your Whoop, because we have athletes who have measured their sleep scores and their recovery scores, and they have objective data showing Ketone-IQ improve those scores. So the data speaks for itself. Don't take my word for it.
Well, it's been awesome to get you back on the show. I know this was a quick one. If there's anything that you'd like to say to us to just sort of keep an eye out for in the realm of Ketone-IQ, what would you tell us to look for?
Before that, I want to do a little plug for you, actually. Since our last session, our last podcast, when I was here, I think your podcast was one of the top podcasts that I have the most questions from your audience. Like your audience actually DM me on Instagram and found me on Instagram after you post, the collaborator, after we collaborated on the clips and all that. Your audience are actually very curious people, very knowledgeable people, and they would ask me, or they would just give compliments saying, hey, I learned so much, and like kudos to you building that community.
You guys rock.
So definitely one of the top podcasts in terms of like reaching out to me.
That's so great.
Yeah,
I love that.
So you can continue to reach out to me at Latt Mansor, LattMansor on all social media. If you want to find out more about ketones, you can just go to ketone.com. We are now the Ketone Company because at Ketone is our tag for all social media, and ketone.com is our website. So any other ketone companies claim that, too bad it's taken.
I love it, man. I love it. And look, there's definitely a Creatures of Habit Ketone-IQ collab coming soon, without a question of a doubt. Probably do a fun giveaway. But the product has been in my world for...
You are now the creature of ketones.
It makes sense. It flows. But I think I tried my first ketones, exogenous ketones, 10 years ago, when it was in that super weird star-shaped bottle.
When it tastes like shit.
When it tastes like rocket fuel.
Yeah.
And so, here we are 10 years later, and I still love it. And I really do share it with everybody because it's been just a part of my life. And so I'm stoked to have you back. And thanks for sharing some new science with us. I'm excited to try some of the new ways to incorporate it into my life, man.
Yeah, my pleasure and my honor to be here. Next time we'll do a longer version and deep dive on the results that all these studies are coming out with.
Awesome, dude. Thanks, Latt.
Thank you.
Guys, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the podcast. Having Latt back on the show is pretty spectacular. It's like every single time I see him or talk to him, it's really, really crazy to just hear all of the advances, all of the new studies, all of the new things that they're working on at Ketone-IQ. It's such a new... it's like a new frontier with ketones, and the guys at Ketone-IQ being sort of at the forefront of the studies on this like pretty spectacular creation is awesome. And to be able to like give you guys and deliver you guys that information firsthand, pretty damn cool. So if you love this podcast, give us a 5-star rating, a review, hit the subscribe button, and also share it with a friend. Ask Latt questions, because the dude is down to spend some time. He is super, super passionate about what he's doing. He's been with the company for, I think, a long time, forever. And the science is real stuff. And they're doing they're doing real clinical studies as we speak on ways to just like make America better and healthier and stronger, and and globally, really. I mean, they've got studies in Denmark and in Belgium, and it's pretty incredible to hear what the brand is doing. So anyway, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Until the next one, y'all. Peace.